Welcome to Guru Trader video for Wednesday, May the 12th, 2010. Here's the 7 market movers that we're following today. 2 new symbols, 5 follow-ups. On the NASDAQ, following up on AEZS, AEterna, Zentaris Inc, 212 up 29. Following up on AKRX Akorn Inc, 295 up 19. And following up on NLST Netlist Inc, 317 up 52. And on the TSXV Venture, following up on SSS, Stem Cell Therapeutics Corp, 49.5 up 1 today. Following up on EAG, Eagle Hill Exploration Corp, 23 up 4. And new symbol on the TSX Venture, USA, US Silver Corp, 24.5 up 4.5. And another new symbol, CRO on the TSX Venture, Canadian Aero Mines Limited, 6.5 up 1.5. Let's take a closer look at these stocks. Alright, AEterna Zentaris, AEZS, 212 up 29, 16% move, 19 million shares traded. We've tweeted this one, this is our 4th tweet since May the 6th at $1.42. So erratic chart on this one, but what caught our eye a few times was their news back here on May the 6th. They announced their orphan drug designation from the FDA for their something related to ovarian cancer, and then today they put out news FDA approves investigational new drug application for doxorubicin targeted conjugate compound in bladder cancer. So it's been active. 74 million shares outstanding, and it's trading 10-20 million shares a day. The 52-week high was 325, which it did on June the 1st of last year. It kind of bounced around between just a little over, a little under $1 for most of the rest of the year, and spiked up here, which is when we started keeping an eye on it. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that one. Okay, moving on. AKRX Akorn Inc, 295 up 19. Little over 2 million shares traded, $266 million company. The 52-week high was 290, which did on May the 5th. The low was 80 cents, which it did on May 14th of last year. It has a nice gradually sloping chart. We're mentioning them as a follow-up because they did break that 52-week high at 298 today. They reported on May the 3rd their first quarter 2010 financial results. There's various financial results there worth looking into. But what caught our, let's see, on April 21st, the FDA approval to relaunch erythromycin ophthalmic ointment USP 3.5 grams. So it got some play off of that news release. There's other related drugs that they're working on or whatever. So anyway, technically it's still moving. We've tweeted it. This is our 4th tweet since April 20th at $1.86, so it continues to look good and breaking those highs. So we'll keep an eye on that one still longer. And NLST Netlist Inc. I thought this was a new stock, but actually we have tweeted this one other time, which was back on November 14th at 447. Now, first I thought, oh wow, 317. We're not doing very good on that one, but it was actually on November 14th at 447, which would be somewhere around here. And since then it went up from that 447 level. The high shows November 20th at 798, so it actually didn't do that bad. But then, of course, started sliding off after that, but we only mentioned it once. But anyway, June the 1st, the low was 29 cents, so keep that in mind. Interesting story, caught our eye because they reported their first quarter results, and shows year-over-year revenues nearly triple, margins increase, balance sheet strengthened by offering proceeds. They mentioned their, I can't go into all of this, first quarter ended up 7.9 million, up 265%. They talk about their sequentially revenues improved 17.8%. Their gross profit was 1.8 million, or 23% of revenues, compared to a gross loss of 537, or negative 24.8% of revenues for the first quarter ended April 4th, 2009. So I'd look at that. They talk about their some new products here. Their HyperCloud and their NetVault received first commercial orders for NetVault, and announced first customer qualification for HyperCloud. So that's interesting. Now, I also found this interesting. As of April 3rd, they've got basically cash of 26.4 million, assets of 41.9 million, working capital 27.5 million, total debt of 125,000, and shareholder equity of 33 million. So we thought this is an interesting spec to start to take a look at. And now look at these charts, though, very erratic. This thing has big moves and big sell-offs. So keep all that in mind. We're going to put it on our radar and our watch list and keep an eye on it. Moving on, SSS, Stem Cell Therapeutics. It's one of our top 30 small caps. We put it on there last March at around, I don't know, $8 or $5.10, I believe. You can check that. Now we started tweeting them. Let me see here. This is our 5th tweet since January the 18th at 31.5 cents, and we just started tweeting them more often recently because it's been moving up, every other day right in here. Now we're mentioning them also because yesterday we didn't put out a tweet or a video. We haven't put out a video actually since last Friday, but yesterday it broke that May the 11th was the 52-week high at 55 cents. The low, keep in mind, is 6 cents on May the 13th of last year. It's had a gradually sloping chart here with some spikes every once in a while. Now, I've seen this stock trade a lot more volume than that. There's 75 million market cap, 152 million shares outstanding. So it's been moving up on what I would call moderate volume. On April 28th, Stem Cell announces publication of a Dundee Capital Markets report. I'd look into that. They also, on the 26th, announced completion of the 90-day endpoint period for the last patient enrolled in the modified Regenesis Phase 2B stroke trial. So that gives you an idea. I'd look into the rest of their news releases there, but we're going to continue to keep an eye on that one. Also EAG, Eagle Hill Exploration. We've been following this one for a while. 23 up 4, 21% move. Showed up on the percentage movers. Almost 3 million shares traded. 66 million shares outstanding. 15 million market cap. The 52-week high was 62 cents, which it did on March the 17th, right here, and the low was 8 cents, which it did July the 16th. Now, when we mentioned this before, I believe in our videos, we mentioned be careful of these sharp spikes, because a lot of it was anticipatory and, looking forward to results on their property, and often that can accompany, a sell-off here. So, anyway, we've mentioned EAG. This is our 5th tweet since March. We mentioned in March the 10th at 35 cents, the 15th at 47 cents, the 16th at 55 cents, and the 23rd at 45 cents. So that was all back in March, right here. So we stopped mentioning them since then. Now it's back. So why are we mentioning them now? Because technically there's no reason to at this point except for the perk up in the volume. But they did on April 28th release, Eagle Hill enhances gold potential at Windfall Lake property with results from its initial drill program. This is what I've been focusing on, is this last sentence. An additional 15,000 meters of drilling is planned to start in June 2010. So maybe we'll get another kick at the can on this one. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that one. And 2 new symbols, USA, US Silver Corp, 24.5 up 4.5, 22.5% move, 4.5 million shares traded. The 52-week high was 24 cents, which it did June the 1st of 2009. Bounced back and forth between 15 and 20 cents for the rest of the year. The low was 10.5 on July the 8th of last year. And mentioning it because it's broken that 52-week high and traded as high as 26.5 today. So we took a look at it, and they reported their first quarter 2010 results. They've got some prolific gold production on this silver, lead, and copper from their Galena mine in Wallace, Idaho. So they've got production data there. So I'd look into that, and it looks like there was some sort of delay in filing statements. So I'd look into that. They talk about this, let me see, delayed 1 week. Yeah, U.S. Silver announced its application for management cease trade order. Looks like they've produced those results. So, maybe it's going to start playing now. I don't know. It's on our radar. And last one, this one's also a new stock. CRO, Canadian Narrow Mines Limited, 6.5 up 1.5, 30% move, 3.5 million shares traded. 52-week high was 12 cents, which did January the 13th. Slid off, stuck around the 6 cent range. The low was 4 cents, which did August the 20th. Don't like mentioning stocks that are, 5-10 cents, but every once in a while one comes along that looks interesting enough. This one's interesting because they put out news today that they're evaluating restarting their Timmins nickel mine, and they talk about how nickel prices fell in 2005, so they're looking at reopening it because nickel prices have more than doubled, and there's some other efficiencies that might make it more economical. So they're looking at that. So I'd call a company and keep up on it and see if this is more than a one-day blip, but it may be a longer-term play. But it's interesting. It's not just a pure exploration play. There's economics to look at. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on it. That's about it for today. Do your homework, trade safely. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Guru Trader videos and tweets are daily snapshots of 5 to 7 very active small and microcap stocks from all North American stock exchanges. We simply track stocks that are trading up significantly on news or making new highs on very high volume without any further consideration of company fundamentals. The point is to save time by focusing on only those stocks that are moving right now. Guru Trader symbols come from filtering market movers and from subjective observations. Our software cross-references today's volume actives, percent gainers, and dollar gainers, which are filtered down to just lower price stocks. We then look at each stock's charts for apparent uptrends and news headlines for obvious one-day only events to exclude, like a buyout, or for longer-term growth-related news like financials, drill results, patent approvals, etc. to include. This is similar to how many traders look for new stocks as a starting point for further research with their financial and investment advisors. This is not an advisory service, and conflicts may exist as we sometimes take positions, or featured stocks may have bought online advertising or IR support services. Any content published by Investors Guru Small Cap Stock Observer is subject to the terms of our privacy policy and disclaimer at investorsguru.com.